what would your solution kind of be for the rent issue that have you seen?
Great question. So the problem is twofold. Okay. One, we have a very low supply of quote unquote affordable housing, right?
Okay.
And I use the quotes only because affordable housing doesn't mean what we think it means. Affordable housing is based on a federal HUD definition.
Okay.
That takes into account really the salary of Americans across the nation. Right. But as you can imagine, somebody working in California makes way more than somebody who works in North Carolina.
Right.
So it's not really localized.
Right. Okay.
So on top of that, what happens is you have a low supply, and just basic economics. When supply is low and demand is high, the price goes up.
Right.
On top of that, people who are trying to get into these places, they're coming to Durham and really the Raleigh-Durham area, largely because there are schools here.
Yes.
There are job opportunities here. Yeah. There are ways for people to try to elevate their status. But when you get here, you realize that we still have many of the same historic barriers to accessing the capital needed to get ownership, right? So if you wanted to buy a house and you came down here, our housing supply for purchase is even smaller, right? So we don't have a lot of houses, which means the price for the house is right. What you see oftentimes is a lot of people who are doing really well here aren't from here. There are people who are coming from New York, Chicago, places that rent was crazy expensive.
Right.
And for them, $1,300 a month. What's that? Right. But the people who are displaced are the people who are from here, who are averaging annual salary of about $20,000. Right. So if they're displaced, that's the gentrification effect in removing people. We also have major universities in this area. So we have Duke, UNC. We got HBCUs here, we got Central, we got Shaw, St. Paul. There are students here who come from all over who, they're going to have financial aid to help assist them with housing.
Right.
And so landlords are saying we don't necessarily have to cater to the local demographic because we've got options.
Right.
And, there's not really, I don't know that we can really complain about it because the landlord's in the business of trying to generate revenue through renting property, and that's his right. But at the same time, there seems to be a lack of consideration on the part of government and the part of developers as to the general problem of housing insecurity. And this is not just a Durham issue, just national.